Welcome back, everybody. It's Amanda Ridout, health coach, and we are back with our favorite pharmacist, Ben Fuchs.
This type of acne is rapidly healing and it takes a long time to develop, but you can exploit the fact that it's rapidly healing. You can make differences very, very quickly. This is the quickest. Well, the food acne, that'll resolve itself pretty quickly too, but this type of acne also resolves itself very, very
Yeah.
quickly. And this type of acne doesn't occur until the body has been majorly abused. So you have your first acne is male hormone acne, androgenic acne. Your second acne was the adrenal glands. And because those are two, they're kind of involved. The adrenal glands make male hormones. We're going to combine those. The third type of acne we talked about last time, digestive acne. The fourth type of acne is related to these three type of acnes, but occurs when the first three acnes have been going on for a long time. In other words, the body has been subject to a lot of toxicity and a lot of abuse. Follow?
Yeah.
Okay, this is liver acne. It's acne that involves the liver. And we'll talk a little bit about the liver, but for right now, understand that when the male hormone system is messed up for a long time, and that shows up as androgenic acne, and or the adrenal system is messed up, cortisol, stress hormone is being secreted, sugar metabolism is thrown off, etc., and the adrenal glands make male hormones as well. They make androgens, so there's some overlap there. When the adrenal glands are messed up and there's all the adrenal problems are accruing over time, eventually the liver is going to get toxic as well. So liver toxicity will show up from the first two acnes because it handles hormones and because it's cross-reacts with some of the adrenal activity. And digestive acne, the third type of acne, is the quintessential, or the liver is a digestive organ. So digestive acne over the course of time is going to affect the liver in this immediate cause and effect fashion, because the liver is a digestive organ. So as toxicity gets into the body, the liver has to do the work to purify it. When we eat a food, the food goes down through the digestive tract in the intestine, and under normal healthy circumstances, the food is digested into its component particles, the amino acids and the vitamins and such. And those go into the intestine, okay?
Yeah.
And from the intestine, they actually get taken up by cells that line the intestine. From there, they go into the blood. And from there, they go into the liver. That's if we're healthy, under healthy circumstances. And then the liver purifies it, and then it goes through the body, goes to the heart and to the rest of the body. But the liver's like immigration, okay? It's like security. You know how, like, when you go to the airport, you got the first guy who checks your boarding pass?
Yeah.
That's the intestine.
Okay.
Then you go through screening, right? They take out all the impurities. If you got water, if you got canned tuna fish, whatever, right? That's the impurities. That's the liver.
Okay.
All right. So you got two places here where stuff gets into the body. Now, if we're healthy, this occurs, there's no problem. However, over the course of time, one of the things that occurs is the lining of the digestive tract starts to get weak, starts to break down, and then stuff can take a back route and can bypass the liver and go right into the blood.
Okay.
So it kind of takes the back door through these weakened cells, the weakened wall of the intestine. Or what can happen is the liver can become so overloaded, it starts to not do its work as well. So there's two places where toxicity can enter into the body. Does that make sense? You can enter the body through the back door. It can go in through the liver. When you have when you have liver acne, you've got a liver that is overloaded with either male hormones and male hormone byproducts. It's not really male hormones. It's male hormone byproducts.
Okay.
Because male hormone processing is very complex. We'll just call it generically male hormones.
Okay.
That's number one. Blood sugar changes, because the liver is, in addition to being a major digestive organ, it's the major blood sugar organ.
Yeah.
It's bad in the pancreas, but even more important than the pancreas. So once your adrenal glands are messed up, then your liver is going to be messed up over time. Over time. This takes a long time. Liver acne takes a long time to develop. And then digestive acne, the digestive system has to have been bombarded for a long period of time. So number one, the liver, the fourth type of acne, is almost like an extreme form of these other three types of acne. It takes a long time to develop. It's when one of these three types of acne, or combinations, have been going on for a long period of time. That's number one. Number two, you can tell liver acne by where it appears. Liver acne will appear on the shoulders and on the back, and all the way into and in the neck area. All this area, it contains a circulatory system, a blood vessel system called lymph. Not a blood vessel, but a vessel system. It actually is part of the blood, technically. It's all one system.
Okay.
But it's called lymph. You've heard of lymph, right?
Uh-huh.
Lymph is actually if you come right down to it, it's actually like the blood. It's a part of the blood. The circulatory system, it's at the very tiniest levels, the capillary levels, they kind of cross over to each other. So they sort of form a big circle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'll explain it. And the lymph can get clogged. And the lymph gets clogged secondary to liver issues. The liver's supposed to purify things. The lymph runs through the liver, and the liver's supposed to purify things. When the liver gets tired or fatigued or overloaded, over the course of time, the lymph becomes congested. Stuff doesn't get purified.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Yep.
So the lymph starts to clog up. The lymph starts to become congested. This, by the way, is a major cause of all diseases. And people who have liver acne run higher risks for psoriasis, autoimmune disease, God forbid, cancers. By the time it goes to the liver, it becomes very serious. That means you got toxicity circulating in the body.
Yeah.
Follow?
Right.
This will show up as boils. It'll show up on the as big, deep dermal issues, and people will try to pop it and inject it. And what it is the lymphatic system pushing up.
Okay.
It's not this thing. You know, it looks like it's this thing on the top. That's not it. It's all of this stuff pushing up. You follow me?
Yep.
It's not like a discrete pimple. That's what a boil is. When you have boils and cysts, you got liver involvement, lymphatic involvement, and that means liver involvement. And when you have it on the sides of the face sometimes, definitely the shoulders and the back. And you'll notice, sometimes people will notice that they get shoulders in the back just once in a while, you know, and then it'll go away. Usually that means the liver's been overloaded somehow.
Okay.
So the neat thing about liver acne is it resolves quickly, because that is a sign of extreme toxicity. And once you start to modify the body using nutritional supplements and, of course, keeping the toxins from coming in the first place, digestive strategy, we'll talk about all these here in a minute, and then also nutritional support for the liver to help the liver, this will resolve very quickly. By the way, liver disease is a major problem. When the liver processes fats, and when the liver becomes fatigued and overloaded, it can become fatty. It doesn't process fats effectively. Fat starts to accumulate. This is not a good situation, and 1 out of 3 Americans experiences non-alcoholic fatty liver disease to the point where they call it normal. They say it's normal to have. Yes, and this is the same condition that you had to drink Jack Daniels out of a paper bag over on Larimer Street, you know, drink a pint of it a day to have. Now everybody's getting it. So they have to call it non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It's the same thing. It's not. They're just saying you're not an alcoholic, Amanda.
Yeah.
This is normal.
But you still have the disease.
You still have the disease. So they say you're non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. You're not an alcoholic. You just have the same disease that alcoholics have.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Wow, and it takes alcoholics a lot of abuse to get there.
A lot of abuse. Wow. Yes, exactly.
Wow. I have a question about the acne, how it shows up. You said it can look like boils. Can liver acne look just like, you know, the little crusty acne on the back and on the neck?
That's right. That's eczema usually. That's a sign that cells aren't divided. It's not acne.
Okay.
Acne is, I mean, basically it's dysfunctional cells at the core, and you're going to do the same things you're doing for acne. But mechanistically, when you see those little patches, that could be either eczema or psoriasis. Patches could be psoriasis, or either way, it's cells not dividing correctly.
Okay.
And this is the most important thing to understand about the skin and really about the whole body. The skin is like a poster child for our misunderstanding of the body, in the sense that we look at the body from a bird's eye view. Yeah. We don't look at it from a zoomed in cellular view. You know what I'm saying? We look at it like the skin is, we do it with all the organs, the liver and everything else, but with the skin, it doesn't look like much is happening here.
Right.
Right? But microscopically, there's cells dividing and growing and secreting and doing their business. It's a dynamo. It's an incredible amount of activity is going on in there. And all that activity has to occur at just the right pace. It can't go too fast. It can't go too slow. It has to have just the right nutrients. All these things have to be in place. When it becomes dysfunctional because it's either lack of nutrients, it's suffocating, somehow it's not getting oxygenated correctly, or toxicity is building up, usually through the digestive system, the cells don't divide correctly. At this microscopic level, if you can zoom in, and it does take a little bit of imagination. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You have to close your eyes and kind of imagine it, because you can't, you know what I'm saying? There's like a disconnect between what's really happening here, but it doesn't serve us, this disconnect. When we start to understand the cellular nature of things, it starts to make sense how our lifestyle issues, how we nutriate and how we move our bodies, and the toxicity that we surround ourselves with, that has such a huge impact. It can't help it, because you eat it, you're going to dump, excrete some of it, through the digestive system. It'll come out as waste, as excrement, but a lot of it is going to stay in. Well, where is that stuff going to go? it's going to go to make things. It's going to go to do things. It's going to go to become part of your body or not.
Right.
Or not. If you don't have it, that means something about how the cells are growing or dividing is going to be affected. It can't help but be that way. And the skin is a poster child for our misunderstanding because it's on the outside and we know good and well nothing's happening here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We know good and well this is a sheet, and that allows us to spread stuff on and hope for the best.
Right.
Instead of, that's basically skincare. Spread it on, hope for the best. Or, oh, that smells nice. And in the skincare business, we've been so bamboozled by, a real predatory and exploitative business model that we think that when we rub something on the skin, we're actually moisturizing our skin. How did this ever occur? How did this come to be? It's hypnosis. It's mass hypnosis. So the point is that our ignorance about our bodies and our skin doesn't serve us. And part of understanding or diffusing or getting past this ignorance is zooming in to the cellular nature of it. So that's to answer your question. Cells aren't dividing rapidly. That was a long answer to your question. But anyway, liver acne. So the primary thing about the liver is you want to, two primary things really. You want to, actually three primary things. You want to consider it food.
Yep.
And then actually, we'll say a subcategory of food is fats.
Okay.
Foods in general, and sugars are involved too, carbohydrates are involved, but also fats. And then hormones, because the liver is a major hormone processing center. And hormones, steroid hormones, estrogen and testosterone, these bad guy hormones when it comes to growth and how fast things move and develop, they're broken down in the body in steps, in the liver in steps. So you have testosterone, then it's broken down into various fractions in a stepwise fashion. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So testosterone is broken down. It forms something called different hormones. I don't want to get into the names of them, but they break down. Each one of these steps is important, and some of these steps are toxic. When the liver starts to break down, it's not healthy. It gets stuck at steps.
Oh.
And this is where many diseases come from. Estrogen especially is problematic in this way because estrogen is majorly toxic at some of these steps and the liver is processing it. And this is why estrogenic cancers, estrogen gets blamed, but it's really these subfractions, these metabolites of estrogen in the liver. And likewise with male hormones, a lot of these subfractions are responsible for breakouts, for rapid division of cells. So once you start to work on the liver, not only are you going to improve the processing of foods and the processing of fats, but you're also going to improve the processing of hormones. So you improve the processing of everything once you focus on the liver. And then, of course, the liver, there's a great sugar connection with the liver as well. The liver processes sugar. So the liver is bearing a lot of the load for this high blood sugar, low blood sugar roller coaster that everybody's on.
Yeah.
So what do you do? What are the solutions? Think fats, number one. Well, first of all, even more importantly, think toxicity from the digestive system. That's the first thing to do. Correct the digestive problem. The first thing for a liver issue, for any liver issue, for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, whatever, cholesterol issues, cholesterol is made in the liver, whatever your particular liver issue, hepatitis, whatever, focus on the microbiome, the bacteria in the gut. That's the first thing to do. Probiotics and fermented foods. First thing for liver. As far as liver cleanses, the liver cleanses that people do, they're okay, but really what you want to think of a liver cleanse is not putting crap in your body, basically. Let the liver cleanse itself. There are olive oil cleanses and apple juice, and you could do those, and I've heard controversy. I'm not up on whether they're really stones or really residual of the product, but for whatever the cleanses are cute, but really the important thing is not to put the crap in the first place.
Right.
Fasting is one of the best cleanses you could do. One of the best liver cleanses you could do. Let the liver do the work of detoxifying itself. And then building the liver's detoxification system is very important. And there's many ways to do that. Many, 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 many. The most elegant way is vitamin C. Vitamin C is just like a panacea for the liver. It's a panacea for everything in the body, but especially for the liver. By panacea, I mean it's a cure-all. So vitamin C is very important for the liver, and vitamin E is very important for the liver. Fats are very important for the liver. So you got to take care of the microbiome, good probiotics, fermented food, and of course, eliminating food toxicity is always a good idea if you have food allergies, food toxins, etc. Supporting digestive health with fat metabolizing nutrients like lecithin, bile salts, apple cider vinegar after meals, digestive enzymes. You could do certain of the B vitamins will help you process fats. Choline is like a B vitamin substance that helps process fats. There's various fat processing strategies. I like bile salts. That's my favorite fat processing strategy, is to
The
use bile
biosalt.
salts and lecithin. And all of this helps the liver. Remember, the liver it's fatty liver disease, and the liver's processing fats. Anything you could do to
Right.
help the liver process fats is very important. And then fatty nutrients are very important, not just for the liver, but also for the skin, especially vitamin A and vitamin D. Super mega, mega, mega important.
Yeah.
Vitamin A is actually, you can use it topically. Retinol is a great topical. Great topical ingredient, but vitamin A internally, yes, ma'am, I got it. Vitamin retinol topically is great, but vitamin A 20,000 IU internally is very important. 400 IU of vitamin E is important. Vitamin E is also a key player in liver health, and essential fatty acids, omega-3s and omega-6 essential fatty acids. And then something else interesting about when the liver starts to break down, the liver makes bile, and you don't process vitamins as well from food, and fat-soluble vitamins and also essential fatty acids. That's somewhat obvious, because if you don't have bile, you're not going to be able to get
Yeah.
your vitamin D and your vitamin A, and these are fat-soluble nutrients, EFAs. But what's often missed is minerals are handled. A lot of minerals are handled by bile. So if you have a liver problem and a bile problem, you're not going to be able to absorb selenium as effectively. You're not going to be able to absorb zinc as effectively. And these are very important for skin
Yeah.
health, and they're very important for acne, and they're very important for the immune system, both and the body's ability to purify itself. So if you have liver acne, zinc becomes super important. It's
Okay.
important for everybody.
Right.
It's important for
Yeah.
everybody. But for liver acne, uber important. 50 milligrams a day. It's a good idea to balance your zinc with copper. 2 to 4 milligrams a day. Zinc picolinate is the best form of zinc. But you're not going to be able to absorb it as effectively if you have a liver problem. And if you're not supplementing, you're expecting to get it from food, that's very unlikely. So that means zinc deficiency is almost 100% certainty for some people, especially people who aren't supplementing with liver issues. And that means most people. Most people are going to be zinc deficient at a certain age, and because zinc, after a certain age, and certainly if you have liver acne, that means your body's burning through zinc. So the little bit of zinc it has, it's using it very rapidly. So supporting the body with zinc is very, very important. Same with selenium. And
Okay.
all the minerals are really important, but those two stand out in importance. Keeping your blood sugar stable is also very important. Nutrients that help you handle sugar can help. Chromium, vanadium, magnesium. Anything that helps stabilize the blood sugar is going to be in your interest.
Right.
Alpha lipoic acid sometimes can help. Glutamine powder is an amazing, amazing amino acid for helping build glutathione. It's the building block for glutathione, the body's primary detoxifier. But also glutamine is very important for the digestive tract, and glutamine is great for sugar cravings too. For people who can't get off of sugar, the body can use glutamine to a certain extent instead of sugar, so it can help if you have one of those. If you're you crave sugar and then you crash, and you crave more sugar and then you crash. If you're on that kind of high blood sugar, low blood sugar roller coaster, as I call it, glutamine can help stable things out.
Okay.
So that's really not multifunctional. You can't really do much topically for liver acne because it's such a deep issue. It's in the lymphatic system, and it's in the detox. It's in the liver. It's in the internal part of the body. But you can improve the healing of the skin because the epidermis and the stratum corneum, the candy coating, remember the candy coating and what do we call it? I forgot.
The sprinkles. The beef, the candy coating, and the sprinkles.
The sprinkles, right. The sprinkles and the candy coating are damaged by this pressure upwards. So you can do a lot topically to heal that surface. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As the skin is pushing up, it's breaking and it's damaging the top. So using vitamin C, using retinol, these are great strategies. Topically, they're not going to get rid of the problem. And, it can be very distressing to see a big old thing sitting on your neck or on your nose. And, it happens to be in areas where there's lots of lymph.
Yeah.
So where you'll see lymphatic concentrations here, there's lots of lymph in the cheek area, there's lymph here. Wherever you see lymph, that's where these boils and cysts will be. And it can be very distressing to wake up with one. But know that you're not going to be able to approach it topically.
Okay.
It's not a topical issue. What you're seeing is pressure upward from the circulatory system that's relatively deep down.
So I was going to say maybe apple cider vinegar on cotton. Would that help with the irritation or the infection, maybe?
It may speed healing of the surface, but I don't know if you're going to get too much underneath. Relatively speaking, compared to all the, how small a cell is, you're talking many layers. The dermis is many, many layers down. You've got, I don't know, you probably have 20 layers of cells, maybe more, by the time you get to where the lymphatic system is.
Wow.
30 layers of cells, layer after layer after layer after layer after layer. I don't even know, it might be more. And plus you have connective tissue deep down under there, and you have a lot of stuff going on top of that lymph. You're not going to get to the lymph topically. The thing about liver acne is it's a very, very bad sign, and it needs to be addressed as such. It's a major red flag for future disasters, including cancer. Because what you're talking about is lymphatic congestion at a very early age, and a dramatic, really severe lymphatic congestion at a very early age. You're talking major congestion. The lymphatic system, you don't want it ever congested. That's exactly what you don't want. The body's fluid dynamics. It's the movement of fluid. And so anytime you have congestion, that is bad, especially when it's congestion where the dirt is, where the infectious material is, the bad guys, the enemies are. That's the last thing you want. And this is this is the beginnings of it, and it's very severe, actually. So if it's not addressed, it's much more than cosmetic. It's much more than cosmetic. It's very serious stuff.
And you see a lot of young kids, teenagers, and you've got to think, how toxic are they, and how damaged is the liver at that young of an age?
Yes. Now, the liver is very forgiving.
Yeah.
The liver is incredibly forgiving. If you have like a half a liver, it'll grow back, or even a quarter of a liver, it'll grow back. I mean, it's pretty amazing. It's a pretty amazing structure. The liver is really ridiculously important. It's the I don't want to say the most important, but a case could be made for it being the most important next to the heart. I mean, the ancient people actually thought it was the most important, even above the heart and the brain. And I could see why. It's the biggest organ. It's in the body. Only the skin is bigger. But inside the body, it's the biggest organ. It's like, it's like 10%. It's like 5% of your body weight is your liver.
I have a question. It's a little off topic, I guess, but not really, because it's skin. And I'm getting a lot of questions about where is Ben's skin product.
Keep asking.
I'll keep asking. Okay.
Listen. These are products I've been using myself for decades. Okay, and I can use the best products, and I know ingredients. I know formulations. I've formulated many millions of dollars in skincare products. I know how to formulate. I love formulating. I love the skin. I love chemistry. These are products I use. These are products I give my loved ones and my friends. I give them as gifts. Anybody I want to impress, I give them. So I know that once people use these products, they're not going to want to use anything else, and I understand that. So I want to make sure all my ducks are in a row before I start. You know what I'm saying?
Because I've just got to say that the people who haven't seen me for a few weeks or see me every couple of months, they continue to be shocked at the difference in my skin.
I'm telling you, that's the beautiful thing. I tell people you're going to notice results right away, but the really good results, that's going to be 2 months, 3 months down the road.
And it just gets better.
And it just gets better.
It does.
And it just gets better.
It does.
Exactly. All right.
Well,
Spread the word.
Well, we are patiently and sometimes impatiently waiting for your products to come out. And the liver acne information is, I think, crucial, especially if you've got a young loved one or even not young loved one. Diet, crucial, changing the way you eat, getting rid of the toxins. And like you said, fasting, I'm very hyper. I have a really bad reaction to scents, and especially if they're synthetic, they make me very sick. So
that's a sign of the liver, by the way.
Okay.
That's a sign of the liver.
So there are some essential oils that would make me sick. One of them was lemongrass. I couldn't smell it. It would give me a headache. After the day and a half, I sprayed something and I was like, oh, darn, it has lemongrass. And then I thought, oh my gosh.
Amanda, that experience is one of the most powerful experiences a human being can
have. I spray it all over the place now.
Because you now experience how things that we take for granted are really the manifestations of lifestyle choices that we don't know that we're making, that we do all the time, and nobody tells us this. Nobody tells us that these are lifestyle choices that if you went to a doctor and told him that, he would give you allergy testing and give you some, or he give you prednisone, or he give you an anti-inflammatory or something. Nobody thinks to work on the internal workings of the system to look at maybe liver toxicity, which, by the way, that's a classic sign of when you can't breathe certain things. Sensitivities to allergens in general, hay fever. People just assume they have to have hay fever. No. You build your immune system. It's a sign of an overloaded detoxification and overloaded immune system.
Okay, so I need to work more on my liver then, because there are still a lot of scents that
women have it because the liver is a major estrogen processing organ. It is the major estrogen processing organ. And so estrogens are particularly dangerous because they are broken down into some very toxic byproducts. Very toxic, horribly toxic. It's the way the body breaks things down in these step-by-step fashion.
Yeah.
And some of these toxic byproducts actually in very small amounts have a role to play, but in the amount that they build up in the liver, they wreak havoc on the immune system, autoimmunity, on the thyroid, just completely wreak havoc. They're like super estrogen.
Wow.
They act like super estrogen. And they're a big problem. They're called catechol estrogens.
Catechol.
Real catechol estrogens. And they accumulate in the liver, and that's the problem. So when a woman has all of these hypothyroidism issues and all of the signs of problems processing estrogen, hot flashes and fibroids and cysts and all the other things that estrogen does, first thing to do is focus on the liver.
Well, thank you, Ben. Thank you again,
nice
and
to see you.
Nice to see you too. And we'll be seeing you soon.